Welcome everybody joining this webinar. We have a really quick one, just want to, call back to school, but essentially it's October now. I know it's not quite September, but we just want to have this, quick webinar for you to checkpoint, see if things are still up to date in your Lean Library setup. So we're going to touch point a few things. So just hopefully you can learn a thing or two, or if you have any questions, just let us know in the Q&A, or otherwise you can always open a support ticket. We can answer you from there. I got Matthew with me today together. So let me just introduce myself. You might have seen me in your support ticket, but I'm Claire and I work as a senior customer success consultant for technology from Sage. So as you can see from my title, basically will be here to make sure that you are successful with your product with Lean Library. And then Matthew, just hand it over to you to a quick intro.
Thanks very much, Claire. I'm Matthew. Like it says there, I'm library patron consultant. I also, you might occasionally see my name on tickets now, as that's something I've been doing recently, as well as in Basecamp. And yeah, Claire and I work together as part of the customer success team to help make sure that everyone gets as much as they possibly can out of Lean Library, and that's really the purpose of today, to help make sure that you see as much value as you can from Lean Library.
Cool, thank you so much. So today we're gonna split between two of us to tell you about different things to look at or keep an eye out on your dashboard setup. So you can see what we want to cover today. First of all, I just want to give you a touch point about what settings to just double check as you're kicking off for this new academic year. And then Matthew will talk about some Lean Library newest time-saving features for you to use, because obviously we know that librarians are very busy. Future content, so you might have heard or you might have seen some Lean Library features promotion or email on a monthly marketing email. But I just want to again give you a few highlight bits that might be useful for user on Lean Library Access to know what kind of features that might be useful for you if you are with Lean Library Future. And then Matthew will just go over about our new knowledge base and our support desk. And then any questions we will be able to answer you at the end. But if you do have any questions, just pop it in the Q&A session and we can always answer that afterward. So keep your setting up to date. Basically, as you might already aware, with Lean Library setup, a lot of things are already automatically set up at the very beginning when you first sign up with us. So there shouldn't be so many things you need to keep up to date with the settings wise. Unless you have some change of authentication system or link resolver system, then we might need to look at changing and making sure they're up to date. But just a quick touch point is on the e-resource domain. That really is the main place we would say, make sure you check that settings before launching to the new students and telling them about Lean Library. It's just because with the e-resource domain, the domains that are listed in here, they will be giving the get access pop-up. So if a domain is no longer subscribed, we would recommend you to disable that just to make sure they're not clicking through the get access pop-up and authenticated and then hit a block. That wouldn't be so great for the experience. So just make sure they're up to date. Otherwise, we would really recommend you to set up the automatic import, which please do open the ticket for us to get that done for you if you'd like to do so, because there's just a few steps that we need to iron out before we can set up the automate proxy import. There will be some integration in there. So if that's up to date, then that's obviously great, because you can just move on from the next step, which is to just check your IP range. Again, the extension mostly would do things same for on and off campus, apart from the get access pop-up. Basically, there is a settings that we can suppress all the pop-up if you are, or the access pop-up if you're on campus. By doing that, we need the IP range. So if you have added additional campus or change of the IP address, please do go ahead and check that setting and make sure it's all up to date. And that's pretty much it. But I will also talk about for our futures clients. So if you're subscribed to Worth of a LibGuide or Lean Library Futures, then please also have a look at your onboarding setup. Basically, that's the LibGuide or library guide setup. Just to, again, check if you have your, for example, ChatGPT. Obviously, we have encouraged a lot of customers to set up something for ChatGPT. It can be assist message, or if you have Worth of a LibGuide, do set up the guide on there, because we see a lot of usage getting to the ChatGPT website. So having some kind of guideline there just to appear when they arrive would be great. And then NPS survey, this really is obviously a fairly new feature, but a lot of maybe customers haven't thought about using this feature. Or maybe if you have set something up, you want to tweak the question. But basically, this is really useful for if you have any trial content that you just have a 3 months trial and you want to just see how students are actually using it, or do they like the content of that website? Do they like the library to be subscribed to that? Just to have a quick survey, that would be appearing on that website. You can just give them 2 to 3 questions and they just rate it. That would also help with the decision making behind that as well. So just to wrap up, as I mentioned about if you have any change of system. So as I said, if you have maybe change of authentication system, it could be that you're moving from proxy to Open Athens, or you're adding Open Athens in your authentication system. Things like that, do open a ticket and let us know, because then we can advise you from there, make sure that everything is up to date. Change of discovery system, that will be more for the Lean Library Futures customer, because we do have some integration with your discovery. However, if you also use Highlight and Search as a Lean Library Access customer, that will also be impacted by the change of discovery system. So again, just let us know if you have anything changing around there. And one quick note is the OCLC latest update that we get from them is they are retiring the knowledge base API. Obviously, we are working to make sure the new Discovery API will be working, Access API will be working. So we're doing our bit in the back end, but if you're using OCLC and if you have any questions, please do open ticket with them. But we are working together with OCLC, and we should also get in touch with you down for the rest, November or maybe December, to just let you know this is changing, and we will be adapting that on our dashboard too. And if you, as I mentioned, if you're Worth of a LibGuide or Lean Library Future customer, if you have a change of your LibChat link, again, let us know. We can adjust that for you, as well as your library help desk. So usually I don't think you will have change on that, but if you have a new domain or a new page that is dedicated on library help desk, then we can again adjust that for you in the settings. So hopefully these are all easy to understand, but as I mentioned, if you have any questions, feel free to open the ticket and we can look into that for you. Okay, so I'm going to pass on to Matthew.
Fab, thank you very much, Claire. Are you okay to change slides for me? Fab, thank you so much. I can see you nodding. Cool, so next slide, if that's all right, Claire. So having talked about some of the settings that you might want to check now at the beginning of the academic year, we also wanted to flag some of the work that our product and tech teams have been doing over the summer to help make Lean Library easier than ever to use, and for you to get the most you possibly can out of it. And one of the things that they've been working hard on is assist message templates. Now you can see there's a couple of quotes from some Lean Library users around assist messages and the benefits that they bring to their respective institutions. And really, we've taken from a lot of the feedback that we've had three main things. First of all, that assessed messages are popular with librarians. Hopefully, if you're a librarian user, you feel the same way. You can use assessed messages to reach patrons where they are, and we know that from our own data. We see thousands of these assessed messages being created every year, which is fantastic. We also know that assessed messages have a wide reach. Librarians know their patrons better than anyone, and they know the best sites in which to reach patrons. So by using targeted assess messages, librarians are able to bring their messages, their insight, their guidance to patrons where they are. And also, assess messages are really versatile. What we've seen is that they're used across domains, across resources, across websites for a number of different purposes, and we'll touch on some of those later on. So next slide, please, Claire. With all that in mind, we've got a few different ones here, and if you can just click that, there we go, thank you very much. We can see some of these different versatile ways that assess messages can be used. So on the left-hand side here, we've got the library using the assess message to make their patrons aware that they are able to subscribe to the New York Times at no extra cost. In the middle, we are letting patrons know that the library has recently upgraded their subscription to PitchBook and that all of the content on the website is now free or freely available. And on the right-hand side, we have a notification to users that a well-used database has recently been compromised by a cyber attack, and now their services aren't available, but we are offering help from the library so that patrons know where they're able to get that support from. So a bunch of different ways that assessed messages can be used. And if we go to the next slide, and if we click another couple of times, thank you very much, Claire. We really wanted to understand how we can make assess messages simpler than ever to use and to make your life as a librarian easier than ever. And there are a couple of things that were core to us when we were considering how to do this. First of all, we wanted to make sure that assess messages could be set up in a really time efficient way. Uh, Assess messages don't take long to set up usually anyway, but there is still that kind of, coming up with your title, coming up with an effective paragraph, going through the settings and stuff. So we wanted to make that time shorter than ever. We also wanted to spread the words about the different ways that assist messages can be used, because I think what some people occasionally ask us for are kind of use cases of all the different ways in which assist messages can be useful to a librarian. So we wanted to model that a bit for librarian users as well. And then the last thing that we wanted to do was we wanted to make sure that this would fit seamlessly into the workflows that librarians have already adopted. So you already know assist messages, you know how to set them up. You should be able to access these assist message templates without having to learn whole new processes. It should be very easy and intuitive for you. And so, if we go to the next slide, we'll also see one of the other considerations we had, which was this recipe for an assist message. And the way we came up with this is we looked at all of the assist messages that our users have put in place over the course of the past few years. We looked at the resources they were targeting and the wording that was being used. And we also looked at how successful those had been, or to put it another way, how viewed they had been and how many clicks through to other sites that those assist messages had generated. And what we noticed is that the most successful ones, by and large, they make mention of the specific library. So they weren't just saying, you have access to this resource. They were saying the University of Make Believe Library has provided you with access to this resource. That's really important because one of the core benefits of Lean Library is that it is raising the profile of your library and the services that your library provides to your patrons. So we want patrons to know who's giving them these services, who's providing them with access, and the way to do that is by attaching your institution or your library's name to them. We also want to emphasize that the library has already paid when this is a relevant factor. We want to make it clear that, had your library not paid, you wouldn't have access to this. We have paid. You don't need to pay any more. And again, that's really demonstrating the value, even in, value in sort of broader terms, but also just the monetary value. You're saving your patrons money through your services. So we want to communicate that clearly to patrons. We want to provide the option to click through to other resources, so it's always effective if you are able to simplify patron access to the resources that they need. And we also want to make sure that we are targeting the right resources at in the right place at the right time, so that we are targeting well-used resources that patrons will encounter over the course of their normal day-to-day studies. And so what we came up with are these two here. Thank you very much, Claire. These are just illustrative examples of the kinds of templates that we came up with. On the left, you can see we're targeting users on a movie site and encouraging them to visit Canopy, which is one of the services that many of our customers provide. And on the right-hand side here, again, another service that a lot of libraries provide is access to LinkedIn Learning. So we're targeting users there. And if we go to the next slide, we'll see that kind of in situ. So here we can see the patron has visited Letterboxd. That's where I record all my film reviews. So if you ever want a film review, you can find me there. But if you go to Letterboxd, usually students will either be, or users of Letterboxd will either be looking for something to watch, or they'll have just watched something. That's where the library will reach them and say, did you know that actually we're able to provide you with even more films to watch, or television series, or documentaries, whatever it is to watch over on Canopy? And then on the next slide, we'll see that this user has gone to Udemy, or Udemy. They're looking to learn some skills, some extracurricular skills to develop themselves for personal development, future career development, that sort of thing. And again, we've reached them where they are. We're saying to them, we don't necessarily provide access to this, but did you know we are actually providing access to LinkedIn Learning? We can help you with that. So if you want to learn a skill without paying for it, then you are more than welcome to go and do that on LinkedIn Learning. And on the next slide, we've just kind of illustrated with this video. I think might need another click here. Yeah, there we go. Thank you, Claire. But that's how assist message templates work. That's how to set them up within your dashboard. Of course, there's documentation about this on our knowledge base. I'll touch a little bit more on our knowledge base later on. And we're also always able to support you with that. So if you have any questions about how to use these, or indeed if you've got any ideas about what kind of templates would be useful to yourself, fellow librarians at other institutes, please just get in touch with us. This is a kind of a new feature. We're still finding different ways to apply it to make it useful to reach as many librarians as possible. So please do let us know if you have any ideas for assist message templates. And yeah, I'll hand back to Claire for the next part of our presentation.
Oh, thank you so much. So basically, these are some features that I mentioned. It's with the Lean Library Futures offering, but I wanted to just highlight a few bit that I think has been very useful for our customer, and I just want to quickly walk through them so you know a bit more about what the features can offer. So basically, what we heard a lot from librarian is obviously they spend a lot of time to write the library guide. Every time you got a new subscribed content, every time you got newspaper website that subscribed, or as Matthew mentioned about some video content website. So you would spend obviously a handful of time to write down, how to get access, what are these content for, and why is it useful for the study. So you do spend, a good amount of time in writing those guide. But then I'm pretty sure that your library help desk would actually be overloaded with questions about how to access these resources, or what is the research guideline for that website, and so on and so forth. And you obviously might then feel, okay, so we have spent that time to write those instruction, how to get access to those content, but you're still getting, questions about those, around those. So what can be done to improve this situation? Basically, what we would suggest that is to use the LibGuide integration, or Workflow for LibGuide or onboarding, however that you have heard the terms. But basically what this does is we can basically set up on the dashboard. Similar idea to the assist message, you add a instruction on a assist message and then save that to appear on a certain website. It's the same idea, but instead of having a short, small pop-up with a few lines of the description, you actually get a full, iframe with the guide, and you can actually scroll up and down or go to different tabs. You can see from, for example, on a LibGuide, you can do maneuver things within that iframe. So it is a very, to your face, quick look and, get the idea, and then they can close it or they can open that into a new tab as well. So we got quite a few interaction bit in it that it will be fairly convenient for the student to just have a read of those before closing it up and getting the work done on the website. So that will be obviously very useful for academic websites or research resource websites I put in here, Statista or Bob. Or if you have, for example, this is like the new academic year and you want to get students to understand how to use the LMS, again, you can put the guide maybe for 2 months or 3 months, just around that period that this guide would appear on that website on your LMS. And so every time when someone go there, they can understand the instruction of how to use it. So you can either set it up as an iframe or you can set it up as a link. So they would click that, open up into a new tab. So there's a lot of way you can use this, fairly similarly to assist message, but a bit more in advance because you can get that iframe look into it. And then there's another consideration as well, apart from using the library guide. What about library discovery? We have done our librarian features report. Some of you might have read it, some of you might have not, but one of the key findings in that paper is that we found out over 70% of students or faculty's member will start their research outside the library discovery. So they probably go on to Google and will start their search there. So again, the struggle is you might find it difficult to get students to start their research at the library discovery. So again, how do you address that? Is we have this very cool integration that I personally like a lot, is when you are doing your research on Google Scholar, obviously you see the result, you can see from the GIF, there are results from the Google Scholar, but on the right-hand side, you see this widget that obviously you can, again, changing tab to see different discovery content and giving you parallelly the result that pulling out from your library discovery. So we can, again, work with OCLC WorldCat, XLibris, EBSCO, and then we also can do the integration for JSTOR and Trip database. So as they're doing Google Scholar search, they see the result from Google Scholar. At the same time, they can actually see the result from your library, click through, and then get the content directly from the library. So that would, again, take them back to the library and use the library, as a more reliable database to search and start their research. So that's some of the features that I like to highlight, and hopefully that they're useful. But again, if you have any questions, just please drop us a ticket and we can answer you from there. So I'm going to pass it on to Matthew.
Lovely, thank you very much, Claire. And having talked about Lean Library itself and the dashboard and different features that you might not have been aware of and different settings to keep up to date, the last thing that I kind of wanted to touch on is our knowledge base, which is brand new. You might have seen it towards the tail end of last year, but if you haven't yet, please do hop over to leanlibrary.zendesk.com, which is on the next slide. If we can skip to that. There we go, thank you. So that is where all our support articles now live. That's where if you have any questions about your Lean Library dashboard or the extension, you can visit. On the next slide, we'll see kind of what the homepage will look like when you land on it. Everything is quite, hopefully, very neatly divided up. As you'll see on the next slide, we have our different sections. So should be easy to find whatever it is you're looking for when you need it. And on the next slide, you'll see an example of what our support articles look like. So basically, same support kind of process that you know and love from its previous incarnation. That's just found in a slightly different place now. So it's leanlibrary.zendesk.com. You can also, as shown on the next slide, access support through the dashboard. So you might have noticed in the past wee while that this new chat widget has appeared in the bottom right hand corner of your screen. And that's got a little helpful bot that if you ask it specific questions about how Lean Library works or about the settings that you're looking to adjust, it will be able to provide you with on-demand help. So the chat widget will be able to help you with that. Of course, sometimes the chat widget is not going to be able to answer your question, and you might need some more tailored support. Oh no, that's great. Thank you, Claire. So in the event that you do need to speak to one of the team, whether it be Claire or myself or any of the rest of the team, you can get in touch at support@leanlibrary.com and we will be very, very happy to help you. But just wanted to highlight that all of our support articles now live at a slightly different address, but the experience is hopefully as good as ever for you. And if you have any questions, you can get in touch with us. And speaking of getting in touch with us, in the very last section, I'm going to talk about keeping in touch with us. And there's a number of different ways you can do that, as evidenced by the next slide. So we have a new Discord community, and I'll touch on all these in a second. We have newsletters, we have webinars like this one today, and we have our product feedback platform on AHA as well. So on the next slide, thank you, Claire. We have recently established a community space on Discord. Discord is something that you may be aware of. It's a kind of community forum that's used by a lot of different. It's used for people for personal reasons. It's where it's sometimes it can be good for things like gaming discussions and that sort of thing. It's also really useful as a space to set up community interaction. You'll see the kind of thing that we've got on the next slide here. You can see that Isabel has sent out a reminder to everyone about the discussions that are taking place on the or within the community. That's where we host some of our open discussions for our APAC customers, our Australian and New Zealand customers, as well as customers in the UK. They're drop-in sessions. You don't need to turn up with anything in particular. You can come along and just talk to a member of the team and find out what we're working on, ask any questions that you have. Would be very happy to see you there. And if you would like to, sorry, something I should also mention is that we host not only sort of video discussions and audio discussions, but we have forums which you can see along the side there. So if you have any questions, not just for us, we really encourage you if you want to talk to other institutions that are using our resources, whether that be Lean Library or whether it be Sidewheel or Talis Aspire, anything and everything. Please do join and feel free to ask your colleagues these questions. We really would like this to be a one-stop shop where you can come and you can get in touch with whoever you need to get in touch with for any help, for any information that you need. So please do visit that. And on the next slide, if you would like to sign up for that, if you'd like to get involved, we would love to have you there. Please send us your name, your email address, and the name of your institution to support@leanlibrary.com, and we will get an invite issued out to you. We're really looking forward to having as many people as possible there, so please do join us. The next thing that I would just mention is that we have a couple of newsletters that are there. You might have heard about this session via one of those newsletters. We have the Lean Library newsletter that goes out every month, and that'll tell you about any upcoming product changes or case studies that we are able to share from some of our users, which is always useful. I think people really value being able, again, to hear from other members of the community, from other librarians about how they're using Lean Library and how they can adopt some of that into their practice. We also have the Librarian Futures newsletter. Librarian Futures, Claire mentioned it already, it's a series of reports on the academic library and on the future of the academic library. We've touched on things like the knowledge gap between students and librarians. We've looked at librarian skills, and this is going to be a regular newsletter that kind of it will contain lots of helpful updates on what's happening in the sector more widely, and on emerging trends. It's also where we're going to name our library of the month. So every month we choose a different library to highlight some of the great work that they're doing, and we're very proud to do that, and that happens in Librarian Futures every month. So if you would like to sign up to those, you can visit technologyfromsage.com and sign up to the newsletters there. There's also webinars like this one. So we do these kind of webinars really regularly. We have a couple of different kinds. We have today where we're just talking about different features of the product and different ways to maximize your usage of them. We also have product update webinars. So if you have any questions about what's coming up soon, or you want to stay abreast of any changes that are happening, you can join one of our product update webinars where our product team will talk you through what's coming up. We also have our community webinars where we address a variety of different topics. So you can see here that this one is on marketing your library. So if you've ever worried about or wondered about how to get the word about your library out to your patrons, then these are the kind of webinars that are built for you. So we'd love to have you join us there. And the very last thing to say is that we have our Lean Library Idea Portal. So we're always working to make Lean Library as good as it possibly can be. And the really one of the best ways that we can do that is to hear as much feedback from you as possible. Our product team are really responsive via AHA, and they are always taking into account the feedback that you give when developing our future roadmap. So if there's anything that you have, even from the very smallest idea, I would like this wording changed, to the very grandest, wouldn't it be fantastic if Lean Library did this completely new thing? We would love to hear it. This is the place to do it. So you can visit our support site, which was flagged earlier on, and access the ideas portal through that. Please, any feedback that you have, we are always delighted to hear it, and it really does play a big part in determining the work we do in future. So any feedback, let us know. And that is all we have for today.
Cool. So I don't think we have any questions at this webinar, but as I said, or as Matthew said, if you have any questions, you can either send email to support@leanlibrary.com, or you can go to your dashboard and open up the support tab and then submit your ticket and your questions. Then we can answer you from there. So thank you so much for your time. Is there anything you want to add, Matthew, or
No,
all good?
that all sounds
Yeah.
great. Just thanks everyone for their time, and thanks for watching till the end.
Perfect. Thank you so much and have a lovely rest of the week.